Hey guys, it's Danny with Words Are Matter. I'm inspired to talk to us today about the word expensive because it's a giant block when it comes to our manifesting. The word expensive is pretty much a bullshit word. There's no such thing as any sort of objective expensiveness. I'm sure there are some sort of exceptions, but really what expensive comes down to is expensive is a judgment, expensive is an opinion. Expensive is a shorthand way of saying this thing is not aligned with my priorities, my values, and my overall budget. And a lot of the times, expensive is a block we put up because we don't actually think that we can make the money to purchase the thing or the experience, or that we deserve it. And so we'll call it expensive to get in our own way, which is really where it comes into play when it comes to manifesting. But the reality is, when I say something is expensive, what I'm saying is this thing isn't aligned with my own personal values and my own personal priorities. So take, for example, beverages. So often I'll hear people say $12 for an organic green juice. That's so expensive. But the same person who's going to judge an organic green juice as expensive and poo-poo it has no problem dropping $12 or even $20 on a glass of wine, which to me makes no sense because in the realm of my priorities and my values, I value optimal health and an alkaline physiology over inebriation and social intoxication. There's no judgment. There's no wrong or right, good or bad. Well, it seems to be much more socially acceptable to judge the green juice as expensive and to laud the intoxication, which is something to pay attention to. Like, why is it our culture is steering us away from maintaining an alkaline, healthy, optimized physiology and instead nudging us towards inebriating ourselves and creating an acidic physiology and all the ensuing liver issues? But we'll bookmark that for a while. Basically, I'm inviting you to look at the things that you judge as expensive. A lot, like I might think $100,000 for a sports car is expensive, but that's because I don't know dick about sports cars and I don't care. It's not a thing when it comes to my priorities or my values. Were I someone who cared about luxury cars and did my due diligence and caught myself up to speed, I might discover that $100,000 for a Porsche is actually super reasonable given the engineering, the horsepower, and all that goes into crafting it. I don't really know. So a lot of times we'll brush things off as expensive because we don't know what goes into them, and because humans love to judge, which really just creates separation. And we'll get into judgment in another Words Are Matter video. But here's the main thing about when it comes to judging things expensive. A lot of times in the past, I had judged things as expensive that I didn't think I had the capacity to invest in. I was doubting my own ability to make enough money to be able to rationalize these things. And so instead of owning my own lack of confidence in myself, I just projected this expensive judgment onto them. So what I'm inviting you to do is look at the things that you're judging as expensive and ask yourself, are they really expensive? Is it really just something you're not aligned with and therefore you're judging? Or is it something that you actually really want and you're staving off and you're pushing away by slapping it with this label expensive? Like I might say, I used to say back in the day that $20 for a Green Goddess smoothie at Erewhon was expensive, right? I really wanted that smoothie. In the grand scheme of how I was budgeted and what my income was and what my priorities were, it wasn't in highest service to my financial well-being to allot my abundance towards a $20 smoothie at that time, right? There's a big difference between the choice of how I'm going to allot my abundance versus victimizing ourselves to it by saying, I can't afford it, or that's too expensive. Ultimately, I got real with myself and I was like, I actually do want this smoothie. I want this smoothie a lot. So that required me to get real with deciding that it wasn't expensive. It was my own doubt in myself and my ability to manifest. And once I got real with it, then I was able to easily transmute it and incorporate awesome $20 Green Goddess smoothies into my daily life. And again, no wrong on how we choose to allot our infinite abundance. It's all based on our own priorities and values. So basically, I'm inviting you as a manifestor stepping into 2021 to examine your dreams, goals, and visions and look at what you are judging as too expensive. And look to see, get really real with whether you are using this judgment as a means of staving off what you really want and blocking yourself from manifesting what you really want with this basically random judgment. All of this is to say, I'm inviting you and me and all of us to get real with how we are using the term expensive, either to stave off things that we really want or just to put a judgment on things that we're not aligned with. And in both instances, I would invite us to stop using the word expensive because it's a judgment, because it puts us in the field of arrogance and knowing better, which is fundamentally hierarchical. If I'm claiming to be omniscient enough to judge something as overpriced, right? I'm saying I know better than the Rolls-Royce manufacturers, and that is expensive, which is basically implies that they shouldn't be charging that. Then that's hierarchy, right? That's me putting myself above and saying I know better. This price is wrong. You know, I can look at a $100 sweater and say that's too expensive for the sweater. Really? But what if the wool is hand sheared on a farm where they take care of the lambs and the sheep in a really loving, compassionate way? And what if that wool is hand woven by people who are praying and blessing while they weave it, and that sweater is hand knit by someone who is, you know, listening to binaural beats and high vibe chants while they're making it with intention? If that's the case, then $100 for that high vibe sweater is the bargain of a century. I don't know. But when I put myself above and say that's too expensive, I'm saying you priced your thing wrong. I know best. So I am fueling and empowering hierarchy, which, as you know from following me, is something that I'm really excited for us to transmute into heterarchy, and also being dishonest in all the ways that I spoke about. So thank you for paying attention. Thank you for remembering every word matters. Thank you for examining when and in what instances you are using the word expensive, and if it's to put yourself on a pedestal above other people, if it's to stave off experiences that you really want to have, or it's just a shorthand way to say that this thing isn't an aligned fit for me, which is a much healthier thing to say. It's healthier for a global family in terms of not fueling the hierarchical structure wherein we know best and we're in judgment all the time. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for remembering that every word matters, that you are omniscopic amazingness. Thank you for registering today for my awesome 2021 Best Year Ever Yet Manifestation Salon, either the Thursday evening version or the Friday afternoon version. I'm so excited to see you there and to manifest miraculous wonderfulness with you. Have a rockin' day. Mwah.